Kamala Harris's interview with the National Association of Black Journalists on Tuesday may not have been particularly eventful, but her strained and slow delivery raised some questions. What stood out most, though, was a verbal habit she displayed that often reveals her uncertainty when faced with even the simplest inquiries. One specific word Kamala uses seems to expose when she's bluffing her way through a topic, hoping for her interviewer to offer a lifeline. This happened during the NABJ interview when the discussion turned to gun control. Interviewer, are there other solutions you're considering to address this issue? Absolutely. For instance, as Vice President and with the President, we passed the most significant gun safety legislation in 30 years. Part of that involved allocating millions of dollars to provide more mental health counselors in public schools, right? That moment stood out in the otherwise slow-paced interview, marking the only time Kamala faced any real pushback. As usual, she used right as a way to seek reassurance that she hadn't completely lost her audience, hoping for an affirmation from the interviewer. She then added, "There are very few solutions we haven't explored. We just need to allocate resources." Essentially, she was dodging the question, but hoping her previous statement would suffice. Another memorable right moment happened early in her vice presidency during an interview with Mike Allen of Axios. He asked her about the challenges of dealing with the pandemic, considering the Biden administration had promised to shut down the virus. Instead of offering a clear response, Kamala replied, "The challenge, Mike, is what I told the mayors, there's no stockpile." She shrugged awkwardly and followed up with, "Right." When pressed to clarify, she responded, "Of vaccines, right?" This was despite the fact that vaccines were never meant to be stockpiled but rapidly distributed, leaving Kamala grasping for a solid answer. Another defense mechanism she often uses is the phrase, "you know?" For instance, in a recent interview, when asked about inflation, Kamala spoke about growing up in a middle-class neighborhood where people were proud of their lawns. She nodded to the interviewer, adding, "You know?" It was yet another attempt to prompt agreement and mask her lack of a substantive response.